Hi, everybody. My name is Nicole Mahalski, and I want to welcome you to the Your Best Life Yet Summit. In this summit, we're going to look at all areas of your life, from your personal to business and career to home and even your relationships. Our expert guests are going to share with you their insights, strategies, so that you can live your best life yet, allowing you to create more joy, time, money, and freedom in your life. I'm so excited to introduce you to today's guest. Arielle Ford has spent the last 30 years living and promoting consciousness through all forms of media. She is the author of the international bestseller, The Soulmate Secret, Manifest the Love of Your Life with the Law of Attraction. Her book, Turn Your Mate into Your Soulmate, offers groundbreaking shifts in perception, showing couples how they can have a deeper and more fulfilling relationship. Her latest book, Inspiration, Love by Design, Coloring the Divine Path to Manifesting Your Soulmate, is the world's first transformational coloring book. Arielle has been called the Cupid of Consciousness and the fairy godmother of love. She lives in La Jolla, California, La Jolla, California, with her husband and soulmate, Brian Hillard, and their feline friends. Her website is soulmatesecret.com. Please help me welcome Arielle Ford to the program today.
Hi, Arielle. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so excited that you could be here with us today.
Oh, happy to be here.
Thank you. I've asked Arielle here to join us because I found incredible value and insight in her work. I've practiced a lot of her techniques and have seen amazing success in my own life. And I know that you guys will see the same success as well if you follow her steps. So I want to jump right in. We're going to be talking with Arielle today about finding love. So let's start off with the question I'm sure most people are asking: what exactly is a soulmate? Because we hear all kinds of different definitions out there.
Yes, there are a lot of different ideas about what a soulmate is, but I believe that a soulmate is first and foremost somebody you can completely be yourself with, somebody with whom you share unconditional love. And when you look into their eyes, you have the experience of being home. And if you accept that definition and you're single, I have some super good news for you, because the truth is you already have many, many soulmates in your life, whether it's your parents, your kids, your siblings, your best friend, your coworkers, even your dogs and your cats all fit into that definition. And one of the fastest ways to attract a romantic soulmate is by having a practice of spending time every day, having gratitude for all of the love and soulmates you already have. All the abundance of love you already have will make you much more magnetic to calling in a soulmate life partner.
I think that's a great definition. You know, so many of us, I think we get wrapped up, especially if we're single, looking for that one and looking outside of everything that we already have and not appreciating the stuff that we do have. I found it really interesting you said that to attract your soulmate, you know it when you can be home and be yourself. Mm-hmm. I think so often in the world of love and dating, we get so wrapped up in trying to be what we think the other person wants us to be or what the other people are looking for, where we totally change ourselves. And it's so important and so fulfilling when we can find that person that really does accept us for who we are.
Yeah. Well, that's the key to happiness. We all yearn to be loved, accepted, and appreciated for who we are, that who we are is enough, that we don't have to be something else. And if you're turning yourself into a pretzel to trying to fit into somebody's life, that's a sure sign that you're with the wrong person.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's been my experience because I've been guilty of that, trying to do what I thought maybe the other person wanted me to do or wanted me to be, and being in relationships where the other person was trying to be or do what they thought I wanted them to be. And it just doesn't work because you can't maintain that for a long time.
No, it doesn't work at all. And it's not fun.
It's not fun. Eventually your inner personality, who you really are, is going to come through. It just has to.
Exactly.
So what is the universal law that can be used to find our soulmate?
Well, these days it's called the law of attraction. When I first learned this 30 years ago, we just simply called it manifesting. But according to the law of attraction, we draw to us the people, places, and experiences that match our state of being. So if our state of being is, I am lovable, everybody likes me, I'm lucky in love, I deserve to have great love in my life, pretty much that's what your experience will be. But if you're living in, I'm too old, I'm too fat, I'm too damaged, all the good ones are taken, I'm a loser when it comes to love, that too will match your belief system. Because the universe can only give to us what we believe is already ours. And there's a quantum science explanation for this. In the world of quantum science, there's something known as the unified field. And in the unified field, we are already connected to everything and everybody. And there is only the now moment. There's no past, there's no future, there's just now. So once you accept the truth about the quantum field, then the really good news is you are already on the quantum level connected to your soulmate. You can actually start the relationship with them right now, today. Now, this doesn't mean you're going to instantly know their name or where they live or what day you're going to meet them in the 3D, material world. But you can start the relationship now. It's what I like to call love before first sight.
That's a great terminology. And, so often we get hung up on living in the past, wanting to relive kind of maybe relationships that didn't work and what we could do to fix them, to really projecting ourselves into the future, waiting for everything to happen, or just really longing after wanting to have that special person in your life. And we forget to do what we need to do right now to have that come true.
Well, one of the things I do to help people through that is I've coined a term called feelingizations. Everybody's heard of visualizations, but visualizations are simply pretty pictures that live in your head. And true manifesting doesn't come out of pretty pictures living in your head because, let's say you wanted a brand new navy blue convertible BMW. And in your head, you're seeing these pretty pictures of you driving down the freeway. You can smell the leather seats. You can feel the wood steering wheel in your hands. But internally, on an emotional level, you don't think it's possible. You don't believe you deserve it. You don't have the money. It's never going to happen. And so your feelings immediately cancel out all the pretty pictures. So what I do is these closed-eyed processes where I take people from their head to their heart. We drop into present moment awareness. We re-experience feelings of love and appreciation and gratitude as if they're happening again right now. And then once we're in this state of love and gratitude, or what the people at Heart Math call heart coherence, when we're in heart coherence, then we can drop in our desires and live in the moment, or for this moment, as if whatever it is we desire is already ours. And I have dozens of these that I give away for free on my website. They're really simple and fun to do. If you just go to soulmatesecret.com, there's a little tab at the top called free stuff. And there's a lot of free stuff there, and all of these feelingizations are there as well.
Those are amazing resources. I know I've looked through several of them. And again, one of the great points that you bring up, I think a lot of people get stuck on the law of attraction because most of the stuff out there is all about visualization. And it really does leave out those key points of needing to feel like you already have it and having those feelings and stay there. So I know I've been guilty of that. I created my beautiful vision board and was like, okay, great, I'm ready to receive. But that's all I had was the pictures. I wasn't taking time to really feel myself.
Right. And the thing is,
those.
When you're going to make a vision board, and I think vision boards are great, but so often people get stuck on the imagery. You want the vision board to be a visual representation of the feelings you want to experience. So let's say you want to have great romance and connection tied into travel and kids. So you want images and words on your vision board that are evoking these feelings. So I had one friend who made a vision board, and it had all these pictures of hot, sexy Latin guys that were 30 years younger than her. Like you could see their faces. And some of them were even famous. And I kept saying to her, this is never going to work. All those guys are married or gay, and nothing here is evoking a feeling except that you're some cougar looking for some hot, young, sexy Latin guy, which if you are, you'll probably get one. But if what you're looking for is a deep, heart, soulful connection, it has to evoke a feeling. What's the feeling you want to experience? Do you want to be loved and cherished and adored and feel safe and secure with somebody who's your best friend and your partner for life and your safe place to land? If those are, the feeling traits that you're seeking, then that's what your vision board needs to look like. And then once you spend time looking at your board, then internalize it, drop into your heart, and using your imagination, what would that feel like? What would that feel like if right now you were waking up on a Saturday morning and your eyes weren't even open, but you could feel the body heat of your beloved sleeping next to you, somebody who just is crazy about you, loves you so much? What would that feel like? And even if you have to fake it, just pretend. Pretend, what would it feel like? And then when you're in that feeling state, that's where true manifesting happens.
Absolutely. And I know, again, you bring up so many good points and so many things that I think a lot of us get stuck in when we're trying to manifest the love of our life. I know I was totally guilty of looking at maybe physical features first. Like I kind of had this stereotype of the man that I was looking for in my head, kind of picture version. And the more I focused on that, it seemed like the more wrong men I totally attracted into my life. But when I flipped the switch and really focused on how I wanted that person to make me feel and how I wanted to be able to make them feel, everything totally turned around. And it's funny that, those physical features that I thought that were so important, like for me, height was one of them. I ended up getting most of those anyway, but it was changing my thought process to really focusing on the feelings that I wanted to feel in the relationship.
Right. And it's important when you're working on, your must-haves and your deal breakers and your soulmate wish list, is every time you write something down, you need to ask yourself this one question: will this contribute to my long-term happiness? Because trust me, a few inches up or down are not going to make a difference to your long-term happiness. The color of their hair isn't going to make a difference. Whether they have hair in 30 years or not is not going to make a difference. It's really the true heart traits and qualities. Are they a kind, compassionate, generous, caring, loving, adventurous person, or whatever it is that you're desiring? Like for me, the number one attribute I knew my soul most needed was somebody who was generous, not necessarily with their money, because I had made plenty of money on my own, generous with their love, affection, attention, and appreciation. That's what my soul was calling for. Now, I didn't have height or weight or athletic ability or any of that on my list. I happened to get a former pro basketball player who was tall and was handsome and is in good shape. And is that nice? Yes. But is that what I love about him? No, not at all. It's his generous, big heart. The one who's always there for me, who loves my quirky weirdness, and thinks it's just great. That's what my soul was calling for.
That's a great question that we should all ask when we're looking for our soulmate or even looking into our relationship. What's the most important thing? What's going to be really important for us 30 years down the road? What's
Right.
going to make that difference?
Because they're going to look different, and whatever hot clothes they're wearing now, they're going to be running around in, tube socks and, funny looking sandals or something.
No, absolutely. And I think I don't know if we just forget or we just don't think about that, but that's something that I believe we really need to focus on and really put into perspective.
Well, we've been brainwashed. The media has brainwashed all of us, and we've forgotten what's important. It's who people are, not what they're wearing or what they have.
Well, and it's their inner character that you look for that's
and their
really going
values.
to sustain, right? Their values that are going to sustain that relationship for a long period of time as well.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember the serial killer, Ted Bundy. He was a handsome, hot guy. He was a graduate of law school. He was tall, dark, and handsome and charming. And look how he turned out. They fried him on death row several years ago. So, if you're going with, oh yeah, he's got to be super hot, and that's what you're going for, you're going to miss out on what you really need.
You are, and I think that's going to be a pretty lonely life
Yeah.
eventually down the road when, as you say, we're all going to change 30 years down the road. We're going to look totally different,
Right.
but our values and our personality and who we really are, that's going to stay the same
Yeah.
and be worth it all in the end. So this kind of ties into my next question. What are the necessary attitudes and key steps that we need to take to manifesting our soulmate?
Well, there's several of them. One of them is really starting to own that you are deserving of big love. How do I know that you're deserving? Because you have the desire for it. Any desire that we have is proof that we already have the seeds for its fulfillment. So if you have a desire for something, it means it's possible for you. Are you deserving of it? Yes. All of us are enough. All of us are deserving of love. Just like we all have enough clean air to breathe and fresh water to drink, there's enough love in this world for everybody. And if you've bought into the myth that there's only one big love for each of us, then that's ridiculous. That's like saying, oh, there's only one job in the whole world for me, just one job. So I have to struggle to find this one job. Well, we know that's ridiculous. We know that there are hundreds of thousands of potential jobs all of us could do, just like there are hundreds of thousands of potential soulmates out there for us, regardless of our age, regardless of our weight, regardless of where we live, even if you're in a rural area. The only roadblock to any of that is your belief that there's a roadblock. Because the problem so many people have is that they say, well, I'll believe it when I see it. But that's not how it works. You'll see it when you believe it. And that's the shift people need to make. You'll see it when you believe it. And it's not your job to know how or when or where meeting this person is going to happen. But it is your job to be totally open, willing, available, and visible so they can find you. So if you're sitting at home on the couch watching reality TV thinking, well, I just want it to happen organically. If it's meant to be for me to have love, then love will knock on the door. Maybe if your beloved is a FedEx guy, maybe he'll just knock on the door. That could happen. I've never heard of it happening, but it could happen. Most likely, if you're willing to get out there and participate and, go to parties, go online. There's a million different ways to meet people, become visible. Then yes, the one who's looking for you will find you.
I think that's another key point that maybe we forget or we don't think about is that we actually have to take those steps to put ourselves in different places, to go a little bit out of our comfort zone, to go and meet new people and put us in the spot that we could.
I mean, we get hungry 3 times a day. We don't expect the food to magically appear out of thin air, right? On the dining room table. We know that there's action to take. Yet so many single women, when it comes to love, are so angry that they have to do something about it, that it hasn't happened already, or that they've been disappointed in the past, and they just shut down and they give up. And by doing that, the only thing you do is assign yourself to a lifetime of loneliness. You're the only one who can unlock the prison gates. You have the key because you've locked yourself in from the inside. So if you want to get out there, you can make it fun. You can make it a spiritual practice. You can call on God and your ancestors on the other side to guide you and give you signs and help you. There's a million zillion free resources on the internet. There's, summits like you're doing. I've got YouTube videos all over the place. There's nothing but assistance out there, but you have to make the effort. You have to ask yourself, do I desire love enough to go outside my comfort zone and commit some time and energy and money to making it happen? And I say money because, you may need to get your hair cut and styled. You may need to get some appropriate dating clothes. You may need to pay a monthly fee at Match.com, but what's your love life worth? You may need to invest 3 years. It might take you 3 years. But I've had friends that took 3 years, and I always ask them when I'm dancing at their wedding, was it worth the wait? Was it worth all the effort? And they all say the same thing. Yes, of course it was worth it. But they made it happen. It wasn't some thunder struck and God picked them out of a crowd and said, here on this golden platter, here's your soulmate. That's just a fairy tale.
I think it's a fairy tale that a lot of people get caught up on because we see it in the movies, and then we are just sitting at home, not getting out there, just waiting for it to happen. And I love that you brought up
feeling bad, feeling sorry for ourselves. Oh, I'm 67 and a half, and I've been divorced for 25 years, and all the men my age want younger women, and they make up all this BS, which isn't true. Most men do not want a 25-year-old. Now, they may fantasize about it, but they want somebody they can really talk to and have a life with. This story that men only want this or men only want that is just an excuse to not get hurt again. And the truth is, if you're in a relationship, you're going to get hurt. This is how love is. It's not a picnic every day. There's going to be more good times than bad, but people hurt each other. That's not a reason not to do it. It's just like, if you're a runner, there'll be days when the running's easy, and there'll be days when your legs are cramping up or you're getting shin splints. But do you quit running? No, you love running, and you put up with the nonsense that sometimes happens.
That's a great point too. I know so many people think that it's supposed to be all sunshine and roses and happily ever after, and that there's never any arguments or disagreements. But when you're in the right relationship, all of that doesn't matter because you guys know each other and you've set your boundaries and your agreements.
I'm glad you brought that up, because here's the truth about a real soulmate relationship. A true soulmate relationship has the mission of healing both parties. That is the purpose of a soulmate love relationship, is to heal each other at the deepest level. And as we know, healing and personal growth is not always pretty. But there's a guy named Harville Hendrix. I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's one of the world's leading marriage researchers. And in fact, Oprah calls him the marriage whisperer. He's written many best-selling books. He's a psychologist. And I was interviewing him one day, and I asked him, it's like, Harville, how do you know if you're in the right relationship? And he started laughing. And when he stopped laughing, he said, well, Arielle, you're in the right relationship when it starts off as a dream come true and then devolves into your worst nightmare. And that's just normal. And it happens in all relationships. Nature has this big trick. It's called falling in love. And when we fall in love, our brain is filled with all kinds of feel-good chemicals, oxytocin, dopamine, adrenaline, stuff I can't even pronounce. And we go into this state of being in love. I like to call this state the socially acceptable form of insanity, because it is a form of insanity. And it lasts anywhere from 6 to 18 months, and then it goes away. And then you wake up one day and you're with this person who you really don't even know. And all those good feelings aren't there anymore. And you're starting to wonder, well, was he really my soulmate? I'm not feeling like I love him anymore. Did I make a mistake? We're arguing all the time. We have all these disagreements. And then they start to think something's wrong. But what they don't know is that, no, this is normal. This is what happens. Now, does it mean it's always going to be like this? No, absolutely not. But what's called for is that we pull up our big girl panties and our big boy shorts, and we learn how to communicate clearly and with love and respect and kindness, all of which is in my book, Turn Your Mate into Your Soulmate. I give you actual scripts on how to have these conversations. And then you reconnect and you go, oh yeah, we are compatible. We are connected. We do have a shared vision for the future, and we still have some chemistry. It's just not as hot as it used to be. And that's normal.
That's a great point for people to realize too, because I think we get caught up in the idea of being in love and that, you're just supposed to feel that way all the time, but it's not, because we all grow and we evolve and life carries on, and we have to learn to adapt and keep growing.
Well, part of the problem is most people don't know what love is. They think love is a feeling. Now, yes, there is a feeling called love, and that is a piece of it. But in reality, in the mature adult world, love is a behavior. Love's a practice. It's a choice. It's a decision. It's an action. It's a way of being. So while the feeling of love will come and go, the behavior of love shouldn't waver. So, you and I may be in love and we may be married and we like each other a lot. And then we have this big fight and suddenly I hate you. I can't believe the things that you've said. You're this horrible person. And I get to have a choice. Am I going to just become a reactive baby and start saying hateful things? Or am I going to go take a time out, get myself to neutral, remember that you really are my best friend, that you probably did not wake up this morning thinking, oh, how could I make Arielle miserable today? Probably that didn't happen. And we're going to talk. We're going to talk with like two people who are kind and compassionate and respectful of each other. And then we're going to come up with a creative solution. Not necessarily a compromise. Nobody needs to lose here, but creative solutions. Like what is it that you most need? What it is that I most need? What's a way that we can both have our needs met without killing each other? And this requires patience and strategic thinking and willingness, and most people think it should be easy, but it's not. The hardest part of being a human being is not life. It's dealing with the other humans. That's where life gets hard, dealing with everybody else's wants and needs, which are different from our wants and needs. And we think that's wrong, but the truth is it's normal.
You brought up a great point. I heard you say that compromising isn't necessarily the answer. We need to make sure that both of our needs are met. And
Right.
so often I think a lot of people think that when you're having a tough time or you're arguing with your partner or your spouse, that you have to compromise. And then one person always feels like they kind of got the short end of the stick or they weren't
Right.
feeling heard or validated. But that's
And
a
you
great
might,
point.
and you might be asking for something unreasonable. People have such high expectations that their mate should fulfill their every hope, wish, and dream and need. And that's beyond what a human being is capable of. It may be that you have this deep need to go to a Science of Mind church every Sunday and to study the work of, certain authors, and that you believe that you're a spiritual person because of that. And then your husband may be a total sports junkie who also happens to coach Little League and is, on the board of Big Brothers and has no interest in reading Marianne Williamson or Deepak Chopra and hasn't been in a church since he was baptized at 2 or whatever. And you're now sitting back judging him. Oh, well, we're growing apart. He's just not spiritual. Which is probably one of the most unspiritual thoughts you can have, because you're now judging somebody who is a good person. You've got a man who does good work. He's on purpose. He's of service to the community. He treats you well. He's a good dad. And yet, because he's not living life the way you're living life, you're all judgy about it. And I see so many women doing this. And what they don't know, I'm going to get on a soapbox here for a minute. So I know all these women who think that they're spiritual. I mean, they would swear they're spiritual. They meditate, they pray, they read spiritual books, they go to hot yoga, they drink green drinks. They're working out every day. They believe that they're super healthy. And here's what happens. So they've just spent a huge amount of time at Whole Foods buying organic, non-GMO food, making their green drinks, going to hot yoga, doing their 20 minutes twice a day of TM. And they're self-righteous and spiritually arrogant and feeling good about themselves. And then they come home and they see their husband sitting on the couch, watching SportsCenter, drinking a beer and having potato chips. And they have angry, toxic, judgmental thoughts. Now, what happens when you have angry, judgmental, or toxic thoughts? You immediately suppress your immune system for up to 8 hours. You have just wiped out all the time, energy, and money that you spent thinking you're so spiritual. So the truth is, we have to allow people to live their lives the way they want to live their lives. If you choose to do all those things because you want to live a long, healthy life and you believe that that's what's best for you, that's fantastic. But every time you're having a judgmental thought that somebody else is bad or wrong, you're hurting yourself, not them.
That's a great point. I mean, you put all that energy during the day to make yourself feel better, to help your health. And then in an instant, you can throw it away by letting your emotions just run
Right.
wild.
And you could ask these same women, Well, what's the most important thing in your life? And most of them will say, well, my relationship, of course. But then if you track their activities for 24 hours and you look and see how much time did they invest in the relationship, probably none. You're better off eating junk food and telling your husband how much you love and appreciate him 5 times a day and get better results than, obsessing about what he's eating or not eating.
That's great advice. Again, I heard you bring up about, really judging people and that we get upset when people aren't managing or meeting our expectations. How can we manage that better?
Well, it's just an awareness thing. And I think if you start looking, we're doing that because we judge ourselves. All right. So we're projecting. So the truth is, the one we have to stop judging immediately is us. We're the ones looking in the mirror saying, oh, if only I could lose 5 pounds or 50 pounds. If only I wasn't eating French fries 3 times a week, my skin would look better. If only, I'm bad, I'm wrong, I'm an idiot, whatever it is. So we have to start with ourselves and start having more love and care and compassion and loving what is. The truth is, we're all aging. Gravity is a law that can't be broken. Things are going to sag. And can you love yourself anyway? And then if you can love yourself more, then you have more love to give the other people in your life. And then on top of that, we're all a bunch of know-it-alls. We think we know what's good for somebody. Now, I was looking at a list of Dr. Andrew Weil's 7 superfoods, and I have a thyroid condition. 3 of the superfoods on that list are really deadly to me. And the other 2 give me indigestion, So he could say, oh yeah, these are the foods everybody needs to eat. But you have to decide what's right for you, and you have to allow other people to decide what's right for them. And if you want to have influence, then don't do it by, telling people what to do. Just lead by example. If you want to eat healthy, then, cook healthy stuff and just, you don't have to say, oh, you should eat this, it's good for you. You might want to say, ever since I switched out, quinoa for whatever, I feel better. My digestion's a whole lot better. If you ever want to taste it, I'd be happy to share. Period, the end.
Great points again. I know a lot of us can get caught up in thinking that we know what's best, but really we just have to worry about what's best for us.
Exactly.
Let everybody else worry about what's best for them, and everybody's going to be happy in the situation.
And I would say the one place where you can have an impact. So let's say your husband gains 50 pounds and develops type 2 diabetes and isn't managing it. And you've got young kids. The conversation to have then is, you have no idea how much I love you. You have no idea how much the kids love you. You have no idea how much we need you. And I'm really scared you're going to die. I'm really scared that by not managing this condition, you're going to leave us and we're going to fall apart completely. And I also believe that since we took vows together and we decided to join our lives together, there's a certain level of responsibility that you have to keep yourself here on the planet. So I just want you to know, I'm never going to say this again, but if you want my help or support or suggestions, I'm here for you 100%. And I go to bed worrying every night that you're going to die, and then go for a walk. That's it. Don't fight with them. Don't shame them. Don't blame them. Just from a really deep heart level, express your truth. Brian had to do this with me 4 years ago. I had gone through this really difficult time. My sister had been dying for several years of cancer. We watched her die. It was a long, horrible, slow death. I was working like crazy. I was out of everything. I was on an empty tank. And he finally sat me down. He said, I'm afraid you're going to die. If you don't take some time off, I'm just scared you're going to get sick like your sister did and you're going to die. And he was right. And I saw that he was right. And I not only ended up taking off 107 days to rethink the rest of my life, but I changed my life completely. And now I've never been healthier. But it would not have happened if he had not shared with me from a very deep personal feeling level, not like, hey, Arielle, you need to slow down, you're going to die. But like, oh my God, I'm so scared I'm going to lose you. So we have to learn how to have these kinds of conversations where we're open and transparent and vulnerable.
That's a great example on how you deliver that message or how you deliver your feelings really is what makes the impact with the other party
Right.
so valuable.
Yeah. And
So
they're
I'm
not
wondering,
easy to have, but they're totally doable.
they're not, no, the conversations that you do need to have, I find most often are not the easiest ones, but they are the ones that you do need to do.
Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit just in closing about, you talk about feathering the nest, and why is that so important for us to do when we're trying to manifest our soulmate?
Well, feathering the nest is about preparing your home to receive your soulmate. And even if you're 1,000,000% certain that the home you're in now is never, ever where you're going to live with your soulmate, it's still really critical to do this because it sends a message to the universe that not only are you ready, willing, open, and available for love, that your home is available, that you literally have space for somebody else. So the first step is to clear out all the old energy in your house, especially if you lived with somebody else there. You want to clear it, and there's lots of ways to do it. You can hire a professional energy worker, or you can get sage. You can get it at Whole Foods or New Age bookstores, and you can do the Native American technique of smudging, saging your house, using the sacred smoke to clear the energies. Or on a really nice sunny day, you can take your broom and open up the doors and the windows, and using your imagination, you just sweep out all the old energy. And then the next step is to clear all the clutter. Get rid of all the clutter in your house. Start purging stuff that you don't need. And then begin to look around the house to see if you have any old photos or souvenirs or mementos from old relationships. Things that you probably don't look at every day, that you don't even notice. You need to get those out of the house, because even though you're not consciously connecting with them, on an unconscious level, you're seeing them and it ties you to the past. Then you want to make space in your house, especially in the bedroom. You want to make sure that um, if the bed that you're sleeping in is a bed that you shared with your ex-husband, if at all possible, get a new bed. If you can't afford a new bed, at least get all new linens. Make sure that the nightstand on their side of the bed is completely empty. Make sure there's one drawer in the dresser completely empty. Make some space in the closet, even if it's just a couple of inches. And for those of you that live in Manhattan, I know there are not a few inches. Give them a quarter of an inch. Just make the attempt to make a little bit of space. Give them half a shelf in the bathroom cabinet. If you have a 2-car garage and you've been parking in the middle, move over. You just want to make all these symbolic gestures that shows the universe that, yes, I literally have space in my home for another. And that's how you feather the nest.
Those are all great examples. I know when I was looking at trying to manifest my soulmate, one thing that I kept catching myself doing was I parked in the middle of my driveway. Every single day, I just kept parking in the middle of my driveway. And then after reading some of your resources in your books, it's like, oh, I should park on maybe just one side of the driveway, and just those little things that we can do to help throughout the day or even
Right. And
over the next few months.
it reinforces your knowing that somebody's coming. Oh, yes, I'm ready. His car's going to be right here. His body's going to be right here. His clothes are going to be right here. And then when they show up, you can just say, yes, I've been expecting you. And how sexy is that to have somebody say to you, oh yeah, I've been expecting you.
That's so true. I have to say, with the bed and the linen things, I think one of the most, for me, it was like a freeing, just kind of closing the last chapter of my relationship, was just totally getting rid of all my old bedding. I just threw it all out, went and spent a couple $100 and bought new stuff. And it felt so much better just for
Yeah.
me to get into my bed, knowing that this was mine and it was the way that I kind of like things, and it was brand new, kind of like a fresh start, new beginning.
Yeah.
It was a really good ceremonial thing just to do, to clean that out. So Arielle, is there anything else that you would like to share with us today?
The thing that I just really want to remind everybody is that heart-opening, soul-stirring, mind-blowing love is really possible for everyone of every age. All you have to do is be willing to put a little time, energy, intention, and attention onto your love life. I did this 20 years ago, and I can tell you it was the most brilliant thing I've ever done. I have shared the Soulmate Secret process with, hundreds of thousands of men and women in 21 languages in 40 countries around the world. It worked for my 80-year-old mother-in-law. It worked for a 92-year-old friend of mine in Dublin. Age is not a barrier. All you have to do is be willing to take little baby steps and to put yourself out there. And if you have $12 and you're willing to invest $12 in your love life, then go on to Amazon and buy my book, The Soulmate Secret. It's the paperback's $12. I think the Kindle version's $8. Just take a step, do something. You don't have to do everything that's in the book. Do what makes the most sense for you, and it will make a difference.
Absolutely. I can agree more. And your Soulmate Secret book is an amazing book. I followed lots of the different things in there and had amazing success. So if I can do it, you guys can totally do it too. I agree. Go get the book. It's totally worth the investment.
Now, Nicole, I want you to email me your story of what you did and pictures of you and your guy. I can't wait to hear it all.
I will. It's been about 9 months now.
Oh,
and we've had our bumps in the road, but you know what? It's the first time ever that I can actually have those hard conversations without getting super emotional, just knowing that we're meant to be and we just have to go through this and we're growing, and that's okay.
And I want to tell you, I've got free chapters to my book, Turn Your Mate into Your Soulmate, at soulmatesecret.com. So download some of those.
Awesome. So I want to remind you guys that Arielle can be found on Twitter at Arielle Ford, Facebook.com/Arielle Ford fan page, and Facebook.com/Soulmate Secret. Be sure to check out the email that you guys got sent today for your interview. We are going to provide all the links to Arielle's amazing resources on there. So just go back to the email and it's all right there. All you have to do is click. And Arielle, again, I want to just tell you how much I appreciate you being so open, honest, and just candid with us today about what we need to do to go find our soulmate. I appreciate you taking the time to be here with us. I've had an amazing time interviewing you and can't wait to see more of your great resources in the future.
Oh, thank you, Nicole. It was really fun talking with you.